He slapped me. Right there in front of his mother, in front of the entire restaurant. And she laughed. Not a shocked gasp, not a disapproving frown. She actually laughed, like she'd been waiting for that moment her whole life. I should have walked away right then. I should have stood up and left with my dignity. But instead I stood there frozen, my cheek burning, and my heart splitting clean down the middle. My name's Liana. And for 8 months I lived a lie so beautiful, so fragile. It shattered the moment truth came crashing in. But this ain't a sob story. This is the story of how I lost everything and then stood tall in front of the people who tried to bury me. It started at a charity gala. I was working waitstaff under the name Leah Jones. Black apron hair pulled back, shoes pinching. I was invisible, which is exactly how I liked it. Because in that ballroom, surrounded by New York's wealthiest nobody, knew I was the only daughter of billionaire hotel magnate Ronald Carrington. They thought I was in Switzerland studying political science. Instead, I was hauling trays of hors d'oeuvres across marble floors, learning what life looked like without bodyguards and bulletproof SUVs. And that's where I met him. Jordan Wells. He got lost looking for the bathroom, wandered into the service hallway, and smiled like he actually saw me. Not my name, not my family fortune. Just me. A month later, we were married. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Fast, impulsive, reckless. And you're right. But it was the first time someone loved me without knowing who I was. So I dove in head first, eyes closed, heart wide open. We moved into his tiny walk-up in Queens. I learned to budget, to cook, to fix a leaky faucet. We fought about whose turn it was, to wash dishes, binged bad TV, and made love on a mattress that squeaked like it had opinions. For the first time, I felt free. Then came her. Elaine Wells Jordan's mother, 5'10", head-to-toe Chanel, and eyes like polished steel. She showed up without warning and walked through our apartment like she was inspecting a rental property she already hated. "You must be Leah," she said, her accent crisp, cold, and expensive. "You're taller than I expected." That was the beginning of her subtle war death by 1,000 comments. "I assume you work for passion, not pay." No family photos. How curious. You must have grown up under difficult circumstances. That would explain certain things. She said certain things a lot. 3 weeks in Jordan started asking questions about my past, about why no one ever visited, why my inheritance showed up right when rent was due, why I didn't exist in any public records before the age of 18. I tried to keep up the lie, but the cracks were showing, especially when Elaine hired a private investigator. That's when the poison really started to spread. Suddenly, every conversation turned suspicious. "Where were you?" sounded like an interrogation. I could see it in his eyes, love battling doubt, trust, slipping away. Then came the dinner. Elaine invited us to some pretentious French restaurant uptown. White tablecloths, glasses that cost more than my rent. She brought uncles, cousins, family friends, made sure I was outnumbered. Leah used to work events, she told the table sweetly. That's how they met. Very modern fairy tale waitress meets marketing associate. Every word was dipped in sugar and laced with arsenic. By dessert, she had picked apart my entire existence, my job, my education, my non-existent family. And Jordan just sat there. I looked at him silently, begging, "Say something." He didn't, and that's when I knew I was on my own. But I stayed, for love, for the man who used to bring me coffee in bed and kiss my forehead like it was sacred. Staying was my biggest mistake. Because 5 days later, he slapped me. We were arguing in our apartment. He'd found a photo of a woman who looked like me entering the Carrington building. His mother claimed it was proof I was sneaking around meeting with powerful men behind his back. It wasn't me. It was staged. I didn't even own that coat. But he didn't care. He shouted, accused, and then the slap. Silence. He stared at his hand like it had betrayed him, and I broke in breathless burning. I backed away. Then the door opened, and he walked in. My father, Ronald Carrington, in a charcoal suit with 2 security guards behind him and thunder in his eyes. He took one look at me, then at Jordan, who still stood frozen, shame carved into his face. And then he said calmly to the guards, "Remove Mrs. Wells, gently, but permanently." Elaine never saw it coming. Turns out she'd forged documents, paid an actress to impersonate me, bribed a PI, all of it fabricated to make me look like a gold digger. And my father, he'd been watching the whole time, letting me live my fantasy until it turned into a nightmare. "You built a life out of love," he told me, his voice softer than I'd heard in years. He tried to destroy it with suspicion. Jordan begged, cried, promised he'd change. But I looked him in the eye and whispered, "You already did." I left that night, moved back into a penthouse I no longer felt at home in, sat in silence for days clutching a stupid coffee cup necklace Jordan once gave me, the only thing that ever felt real. Then my father knocked on my door and said something that shattered me all over again. "You need to know something, sweetheart. You're pregnant. With twins." He'd sent a doctor after the slap. I hadn't even realized. My entire world twisted. And Jordan, he found out. He came to the building, tried to see me, but my father met him in the lobby. "You want to see her again," he told him. "You want to be a father, then earn it. Build a life. Build security. 1 year. No shortcuts. No family money. You prove yourself worthy. Or you never see her again." Harsh. Maybe. But love isn't blind. It's a mirror. And Jordan had broken his. So here I am now. Stronger. Wiser. Carrying 2 lives inside me that will never grow up thinking love means control, or that silence in the face of cruelty is acceptable. I didn't lose everything. I lost what was never real. And now I'm building something that is. But let me ask you something. When someone lies to protect their heart, are they wrong? And when someone strikes out in pain just once, should they get a second chance? Or is there a line that once crossed, love can never walk back over? Let me know in the comments. And if you've ever had to rebuild after being torn down, just know, I see you. You're not alone. Not anymore.